In a dramatic and desperate bid for freedom, a North Korean soldier risked everything to escape the oppressive regime of Kim Jong-un. On that fateful day, the soldier, fed up with the brutal conditions and constant surveillance, made a life-or-death decision. He sped towards the South Korean border in a military jeep, knowing that crossing that line could mean either his liberation or his death. This wasn't just a daring escape. It was a bold act of defiance against one of the most repressive regimes in the world. In North Korea, ruled by the iron fist of Kim Jong-un, even the slightest dissent can lead to severe punishment. The nation's oppressive policies have turned it into a virtual prison, where fear and control are the main tools of governance. Defectors, like the soldier in our story, risk everything to escape. The penalties for attempting to flee are harsh, ranging from life imprisonment to execution, not just for the individual, but sometimes for their entire family. This is a glimpse into the reality faced by those trapped in the hermit kingdom. For the soldier, the choice to flee was not made lightly. North Korea's tight grip on its citizens and the extreme consequences of defection were well known. Yet, the oppressive environment, marked by severe restrictions and a lack of basic freedoms, pushed him to a breaking point. The constant fear of surveillance, the lack of personal agency, and the dismal prospects for the future left him with what felt like no other option. He knew that the journey ahead was fraught with danger, but the prospect of freedom, however slim, was worth the risk. As the soldier sped towards the border in his jeep, he was acutely aware of the perilous journey ahead. North Korean guards quickly spotted his escape attempt and gave chase. They opened fire, determined to stop him at all costs. The soldier's jeep careened towards the South Korean border, bullets whizzing past, some finding their mark. Despite the gunfire and the overwhelming odds against him, the soldier pressed on, driven by a desperate hope for freedom. As he approached the demilitarized zone, the intensity of the chase reached a fever pitch, with North Korean soldiers firing relentlessly in a last-ditch effort to prevent his escape. North Korea is often referred to as the world's largest prison, a place where freedom is a distant dream. The regime enforces strict travel restrictions, not only internationally, but also within the country. Citizens cannot move freely from one province to another without official permission, effectively isolating the population. This tight control ensures that the regime maintains a firm grip on every aspect of life, making any form of dissent nearly impossible. The government's pervasive surveillance and strict monitoring keep the populace in check, fostering an atmosphere of fear and oppression. In North Korea, the punishment for acts deemed treasonous or rebellious is severe and often brutal. The regime does not hesitate to use executions, public or otherwise, to instill fear and maintain control. Life imprisonment is a common sentence for those caught attempting to flee or engaging in any behavior that could be perceived as disloyal to the state. The punishment is not limited to the individual. Entire families can suffer consequences for the actions of one member. This practice of collective punishment serves as a powerful deterrent, discouraging any thoughts of rebellion or escape. The North Korean government maintains strict control over all aspects of life, particularly the flow of information. Free speech is non-existent, and the state tightly controls the media, presenting only the narrative that aligns with the regime's interests. All media outlets are state-owned, and any form of independent journalism is banned. The government's narrative is the only one allowed, and any deviation from it is met with harsh penalties. This monopolization of information ensures that the populace remains uninformed and compliant, with little knowledge of the outside world. In North Korea, the concept of guilt by association is taken to extreme levels. If an individual commits a crime, their entire family can be punished, sometimes for generations. This means that the relatives of defectors, political prisoners, or those who commit minor offenses may face severe repercussions, including imprisonment in labor camps. This system creates a culture of fear and suspicion, as individuals must constantly be wary of their own actions and those of their family members. The threat of collective punishment acts as a powerful deterrent against any form of dissent or defiance. North Korea is one of the most isolated countries in the world, and this extends to its treatment of foreigners. Visitors are closely monitored from the moment they enter the country. They are accompanied by government-appointed guides who ensure they only see the state-approved aspects of the country. Foreigners are restricted to specific areas, mainly in the capital, Pyongyang, and are shown a curated version of North Korean life designed to propagate the regime's propaganda. Any deviation from the guided itinerary or attempts to interact with locals outside the designated zones can lead to severe consequences. One of the most tragic cases illustrating the dangers faced by foreigners in North Korea is that of Otto Warmbier, an American student. In 2015, Warmbier visited North Korea as part of a guided tour. He was arrested in January 2016 for allegedly stealing a propaganda poster from his hotel. After a show trial, he was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. In a shocking turn of events, Warmbier was returned to the United States in a comatose state in June 2017, having suffered severe brain damage. He died shortly after his return. The circumstances of his treatment in North Korea remain unclear, but his case serves as a stark warning of the potential dangers faced by outsiders in the country. Escape routes and challenges. Escaping North Korea is a monumental challenge due to the country's geographic and man-made barriers. To the west lies the Yellow Sea, and to the east, the Sea of Japan, both heavily patrolled by the North Korean Navy. To the south is the heavily fortified Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, separating North and South Korea. This area is one of the most militarized borders in the world, with barbed wire fences, landmines, and a significant military presence. Any attempt to cross these barriers is met with extreme danger, as the regime has deployed 750,000 soldiers and sophisticated surveillance systems to prevent escapes. For defectors, alternative escape routes include crossing the northern borders into China or Russia. However, these routes are fraught with their own challenges. The border with China is marked by the Tumen and Yalu rivers, which can be perilous to cross, especially during winter when the rivers are partially frozen. Additionally, the terrain along these borders is rugged, with mountainous regions that are difficult to traverse. Even if defectors successfully cross into China or Russia, they are not necessarily safe. Both countries have agreements with North Korea to repatriate defectors, making it crucial for escapees to continue their journey to a third country, such as South Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, or Mongolia, where they can seek asylum. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 had a devastating impact on North Korea. The country lost its primary economic ally and source of aid, leading to a severe economic downturn. This period, known as the Arduous March, was marked by widespread famine and hardship. It is estimated that up to 3.5 million North Koreans died due to starvation and lack of basic necessities. The collapse of the Soviet Union also led to increased isolation, as North Korea struggled to maintain its self-sufficiency in the face of international sanctions and a crumbling economy. During the 1990s, the worsening conditions in North Korea led to a significant increase in defections. Many North Koreans sought to escape the famine and oppressive regime, leading to a rise in the number of defectors. However, the North Korean government responded by tightening border controls and increasing surveillance, making it increasingly difficult for citizens to flee. Despite these measures, the number of defectors continued to grow until the early 2000s. Under Kim Jong-un's leadership, the North Korean government has further intensified its security measures to prevent defections. The implementation of signal jammers has made it difficult for defectors to communicate with brokers or family members outside the country. Increased surveillance, both physical and electronic, has heightened the risk of being caught attempting to escape. Border fortifications have been strengthened with additional fences, patrols, and surveillance equipment. These measures have significantly reduced the number of successful defections in recent years. As the North Korean regime has increased its security measures, the cost of escaping has also risen. Brokers, who assist defectors in navigating the treacherous journey out of North Korea, now charge significantly higher fees. In the past, the cost of escape could be around $2,000, but it has since increased to as much as $10,000 or more. For most North Koreans, whose annual income is often less than $2,000, these prices are prohibitively high, making escape an increasingly difficult and dangerous endeavor. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, North Korea took drastic measures to isolate itself even further from the rest of the world. By early 2020, the regime had completely shut down its borders, becoming one of the first countries to do so. This lockdown was implemented to prevent any potential outbreak of the virus within its borders, as the country lacked the healthcare infrastructure to manage a widespread health crisis. The closure included halting all trade, tourism, and diplomatic engagements, effectively sealing the nation from outside influence and information. This unprecedented level of isolation exacerbated the already severe conditions within the country, as access to essential goods and aid became even more restricted. To enforce the strict border controls during the pandemic, North Korean authorities reportedly issued shoot-to-kill orders along their borders. This extreme measure was intended to prevent anyone from entering or leaving the country, including potential defectors or those attempting to smuggle goods across the borders. The military was given the authority to shoot on sight anyone approaching the border areas, highlighting the regime's determination to maintain its isolation and control. This policy not only deterred potential defectors, but also instilled further fear among the population, solidifying North Korea's status as a virtually impenetrable state. North Korea remains one of the most isolated and controlled societies in the world. The regime's oppressive policies and draconian measures have created a virtual prison for its citizens, with escape routes becoming increasingly scarce and dangerous. The combination of strict surveillance, severe punishments, and physical barriers makes the prospect of defecting almost impossible for most North Koreans. The country's isolation has only deepened with the global health crisis, leaving its people even more cut off from the rest of the world. The international community's response to North Korea's human rights abuses has been limited, primarily due to the country's nuclear capabilities. The threat of military escalation has often constrained global efforts to intervene or apply pressure on the regime. As a result, the plight of the North Korean people remains largely unaddressed on the global stage, with few avenues for outside influence or aid. This situation underscores the complexities and challenges of dealing with a nuclear-armed state that prioritizes its own survival over the welfare of its citizens. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and comment to help spread awareness of the dire situation in North Korea. Your engagement supports our channel and helps us bring more informative content to light. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next video. Thank you for watching and taking the time to learn more about the harsh realities faced by those in North Korea. Your support is crucial in raising awareness about these issues. Stay tuned for our next video, where we delve into another fascinating and critical topic. We'll be exploring the mysteries surrounding a major historical event. Don't miss it. Signing off for now. Remember to subscribe and keep the conversation going in the comments. Your voice matters, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, take care and stay informed.